welcome to episode 36 of An Earful Podcast. This week's guest is Ashley Green, the drummer of Holding Absence.
What a fucking dude. This
What a
conversation is probably one of my favourites. Obviously, we chat about Holding Absence, the shitty world we live in at the moment, but we inspire with coffee and just general good attitude, so enjoy.
Yeah, don't forget to check us out on social. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram under An Earful Podcast. You can find the podcast itself on Spotify, Acast, and all other podcasting platforms. And don't forget, you're probably watching us on YouTube right now. But if you're not, jump on YouTube, watch some of our YouTube highlight clips if you like them. Go and watch the full episodes. And yeah, we appreciate it if you just give us a follow and a subscribe on there. Yeah,
and also, if you like this podcast, Holding Absence have a podcast that you should probably go listen to.
Yeah.
As well as they've rescheduled the tour, so go get your tickets.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
thanks.
Everyone's phone on silent as well.
You're a professional, aren't you?
I know.
Oh, yeah, mate.
Oh, I like this. I was doing one yesterday and people were just getting emails constantly. I was like, why didn't I say something?
Right.
Yeah.
Mine's on silent and aeroplane. So there's nothing coming in. Nothing.
Sorted. Social black hole.
Yeah.
I think that's what people are missing recently, because everyone's so into the phones, and they go out drinking and they sit on the phones while they're with their friends. It's like, hang on a second, you're out socializing. Come on, man, just put your phone away. Put your phone away. I mean, we did that once. Me, you, Matt, and Bethan, wasn't it?
No, it was me, you, and Chris, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, me and Chris. Yeah. We went out to discuss band stuff, and we thought every time we go out to discuss stuff, it never gets done. So we thought the only way we can do this is if we all sit here, put our phones away, and the first person to get the phone out gets a slap.
Yeah.
And yeah, none of us did it. So, and it actually was progressive as well, wasn't it? We actually got some
worked.
Yeah, exactly. It was effective.
Yeah, mate.
Incentive.
I'm the worst. I'll proper get up first thing in the morning and be like, oh, where's my phone? Where's my phone? And I'm looking for it first thing, and I'm just I know it's bad as well. That's the thing, I know it's
You're aware
inherently not something that I should be doing, but I just still do it.
Yeah,
I just can't help myself.
I'm going to do it eventually where I just try and wind myself away from my phone. At work as well now, because you're like, oh, it's quiet. I'll scroll. And then when you're busy again, you put it down and then you pick it back up again. And it's just need to put myself away from it. Go to phone rehab for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So everyone's drinking coffee, right?
Of course.
Yeah, man.
I've already had 3 today. I'm on Iron Brew.
Oh, yeah. Classy. A nice classy boy. What have you got did your dark arts turn up, Matt? Or
It did.
Oh, yeah.
That's currently what I'm sipping on right now. With my my novelty face mask from Dark Arts, which we're now
very
vibing.
nice. Very
Fucking
nice.
hell, plugging them here.
I know.
Like
Yeah.
that.
Give us an endorsement.
What have you got, Matt P?
I've got shitty Starbucks blend because I couldn't find any others.
Hey, mate, you like what you like.
Well, I don't like it, but it's better than no coffee. I poured it in the jar I have. You wanted to see the color of it? It's just the darkest roast I've ever seen.
Oh dear.
So
well, I had what did I have today? My friend Scott Waters, who is a drum tech driver, an absolute hell of a boy. He popped round earlier and we had a coffee, and I had 2 bags. I ordered some stuff from a Bristol roaster, and I had an Ethiopian and a Kenyan, and I think we had Ethiopian earlier. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have the Kenyan tonight, and it's so good. It's so nice. I just want to, I'm going to finish it all in the next 5 minutes. And then for the rest of this, I'm just going to be like, oh, boys, what are we doing then? We're going a mad one for the whole thing.
This is what I'm immediately regretting now, because I'm now getting used to going, oh, I'll have a coffee. And it's 7 o'clock. Fuck it, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then we have it, and I'm like, I cannot sleep.
Cool.
You're big into your coffee though, aren't you, Ash?
Oh, yeah, man. Me, to be fair, it's quite inherently I just think it's the older I've gotten, and the more sort of into like, I don't want to say like being a professional, but like, you know, just the more older I've gotten, the more I've sort of just appreciated like not drinking beer and stuff, and not drinking like alcohol, and actually like drinking like coffee, you know, the same way that I guess a lot of people like really nice wine, for example, which I don't, not one of them at all. I never liked wine, even when I did drink. Like, I get that kind of like, when people are like, oh yeah, it's got different flavor notes, different profiles. And I'm like, yeah, fully, like, I get it. Like, and with coffee as well, it's like, it's nice because it's one of them bits where it's like, you can have it in the morning, you know. But yeah, me, James, Scott, our photographer, I think the only person in like my whole like group of friends that I have is like, the only person that doesn't really like coffee is Lucas. Like,
Really?
Lucas, he's just never really liked coffee. He's just always been a tea boy. Like, he loves tea. Like, he would probably have like 6 cups of tea a day, and then the rest of us are just, he's a fiend for a brew. But yeah, everyone else, man, we love coffee. In fact, my microphone is literally on. I can't like adjust my screen because it's like fixed, but my mic is on the box that my like hand grinder came in.
All right.
I haven't got a stand or anything. I was like, yeah, dude, just pop it on there. So it's on there at the minute. Yeah.
To be fair, my Mac is currently sat on 2 guitar pedal board boxes to kind of just raise it up a tiny bit. So it's currently so my Mac is currently supported by Eventide and Strymon.
That's it.
Earful Podcast sponsored by.
We are supported by.
Mate, that'd be a hell of a sponsor, getting Harrio as a sponsor. Because to be fair, because like, if everyone likes coffee, get a couple V60s in, a couple hand grinders, mate. Oh, that'd be the boy.
That or Aeropress. I think you would have nailed it if you got either.
Yeah.
Or a Chemex.
Hardware.
I like a Chemex.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. That'd be golden. Oh, and while we're literally on the subject of coffee, I was like, I'm going to try and make cold brew, like, for the very first time. So I've got a nice batch of that downstairs that's currently doing. I put it on at about 1 o'clock. So according to my phone, it's got like about 14 hours to go. I've got a timer set on that. So that's gonna.
So what's the process for a cold brew then?
I'm curious actually. What's the process?
Oh, so I was looking at can you hear my dog?
A little bit.
Hang on, 1 second. Very unprofessional of me. I'll close my window.
I was going to say invite the dog.
Invite the dog.
I've realised we haven't even said hello or intro. This has been the most casual start we've ever done.
We're just saying we've not even introduced you yet.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm sure there's always a title. There's always a bit.
That's it.
Yeah.
People click on it. It's fine.
Yeah, everyone knows who well, not everyone knows who I am, but now they know who I am.
Everybody knows.
Yeah. Everyone saw the name and they were like, oh, go on, I suppose so. But yeah, cold brew recipe. So I found like a kind of universal cheat sheet bit. And it was like, you can either do it with cold water or hot water. So I was like, okay, I'll do it with cold water because then I can just do it and forget about it. And it's just all like ratios. So I just did, I think I did 100 grams of coffee to about 1.5 liters of water. And then I'm just going to see how that is really. See how it is in the afternoon tomorrow.
Nice. You'll have to update us and let us know what it's like.
Yeah, we'll there could be like an insert in this bit where it's like, the coffee was great. I can record and send you it.
We'll just take that. We're good. We've got it.
There you go. Yeah.
If it's shit, we've not edited anything.
Yeah, it's fine.
Works both ways.
Have you seen the AeroPress attachment you can get that turns it into a cold brew? Like Puck Me, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen that.
Don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
sick.
I haven't got a clue how like stuff like that works. I'm proper like kind of like the most technical I can go is like dosing stuff. So I can weigh out the beans, grind them, and then weigh out the water, and then that's it, and then time it. Yeah. Anything else like the I know. So Scott's like probably the most, if you wanted like a coffee boy, like Scott is like top of the Holden Absence coffee boy leaderboard. He's like right up there. And then like, I think me and James are sort of around about the same. Like we've got a pretty like, I don't want to say like common, but like we have like, we probably know about the same sort of amount as each other. You know, like I like literally the other day he went out for a run and like it was at 5 a.m. making a pour over, and I was like, bloody hell, mate,
Fucking hell.
living the dream.
I saw his lovely face plant result.
Oh, mate,
That looked bad.
Yeah, so gnarly. When he because he posted it, 'cause it was like he messaged in one of our groups and was like, yeah, that's it. I've been for an 8-mile run and I've gone to the hospital and I'm out and it's not even 10 a.m. And I was like, bloody hell. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, he seems to have just gone for it during lockdown, hasn't he?
Yeah, dude. Well, him and our old guitarist, who's the bassist of Loathe Now Fez, like, they're so like driven and motivated, like all the time. They sort of like added me and our friend Pete and a friend of mine called Adam all into this group and was just like, do you want to do a half triathlon next year? And we were just like, oh, yeah, I suppose so. So now we've all inadvertently like just signed up to do this half triathlon next year, and that's what we're all kind of trained. Like that's what James is, what James and Fez are all when they're posting about their bits now. Yeah, it's like I just cycled. Fez has done like 2 60-mile bike rides in the last like month, I think, which is mental. Yeah, crazy. But like, yeah, like fully like hats off to both of them that they've fully just like during we're all here for the reason of the world and everything that's happened, but they fully just like taken everything into their own hands and been like, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to work on self-improvement, and have literally smashed it and been like an inspiration. It's sick.
I was going to say, I bet that's infectious, like just seeing him do it. Even I've just seen like James post, I've been like, that's sick. I need to do something with my lockdown.
Yeah, fully, man. Fully. Because when it all sort of started happening, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do not something similar, but I'm gonna try and like, get my diet in shape and get everything like, in that sort of realm, sort of not back to how it was before, but like for the last like 12 months, I probably got like just comfortable and really like, I wasn't sort of like on a lot of, I wasn't like as probably on it as, I should have been with like my health and everything. So I sort of like quote unquote, let myself go, or as much as you can, and, for the last 3 months, I've been working with like a PT and stuff, and I've been like training sort of like 3 to 4 times a week and at home, which is like super sick. And I've lost like a bit of, well, I don't want to say weight, because weight is like this, my PT's like, you're not losing weight, you're losing size. And I was like, size, not weight. So yeah, I've been doing that, which is like so sick.
Have you been enjoying doing that?
Oh, dude, like anything that is kind of for the betterment of yourself, I love. So like one of my friends, Gabby, sent me a book called Women Don't Owe You Pretty, which is like, I haven't started it, but I've read the back and I'm just like, I can't wait to like, because I think I saw like 2 of my other friends post about it as well, and I was like, when she posted that she'd read it, I was like, oh, lend me that or what? And she was like, yeah, and then sent it down, and 2 days later I'd got this book, and like I was just I think like, because I'm pretty sure, haven't been diagnosed with it, but I have like a form of ADHD or something where I'm always like even now I'm talking and I'm like fiddling with this little thing on my desk, and I'm just like, will you concentrate? You know what I mean? So yeah, and reading books has always been like so laborious. I never like store the information, but I read a book ages ago by a guy called what's his name? I think it's Rob DeBelly, and it's like it's called The Art of Thinking Clearly, and all the chapters are like 2, maybe 2.5 pages long. So there's about 100 chapters in this book that's only about, like 2, maybe 2 inches thick. Yeah. But I remembered like so much from it about like the way that you, the way that people think about things and the way you process things, and like things that you do in life that are like not fallacies, but just things to sort of like make you think more consciously about things that you do and the way that you like live and stuff. And it was so good, it was amazing. I think I lent it to Fez as well. Like I think Fez has that book at the minute, and so yeah, like if I'm gonna read a book, I'll probably always read like not like I guess like a self-help book, but something, in that vein that sort of,
Yeah,
you know.
I'm the similar with that. There's another good one called The War of Art, and it's like the page isn't taken up. It's just like the first quarter of it is text, and then that's it. It's dead digestible.
Sick.
Stuff
Love
like
that. That's banging. What's it called again? I'm going to write it down, and then I'm going to put that on my list.
The War of Art. I might have it round here, actually. 2 seconds.
There you go, banging.
You
Because at the
find
start...
Sorry, mate, go on.
No, you go.
I was saying, do you find with like, obviously, I'm sort of the same at the minute where I'm obviously increased like doing exercise and diet and stuff like that. Do you tend to find that because you're doing more like exercise and shit like that, that you have like more of like a positive mentality?
Oh, dude, like 100%, like 1,000,000%.
So I feel
know
like
that-
creativity as well in terms of like songwriting or whatever else is boosted just because I have a clearer mindset on that.
Yeah, 100%. Because my my PT would hate me if I said this, but when I'm working out, it's kind of like, and again, this is so like cliche, but I kind of use it as like a penance of like my like thought processes where I'm like, I'm doing this because I have, like, if I do this now, I'll feel better for it later in the day, or like I'll feel better for it tomorrow, so like now it's kind of like I'm not punishing myself for doing it because I want to do it, but like I don't, you're never going to enjoy working out as much as you would like, sat on the sofa and watching TV or whatever, and eating like chocolate and stuff. Like that's sick, right? But it doesn't mean you can't do that. Like you can do that, but then like just sort of balance it out, and for like 40 minutes or 45 minutes a day, I'll go and like work out, or I've started like walking like quite a lot, because I didn't really like go out at the start of lockdown, which was like so bad. It was like I just found myself in like this horrible like hole, and as soon as I started going out, I was like, oh, okay, like it's better. I feel like I'm processing things, and but yeah, with working out, it's definitely like a and as musicians, you all get this, right? So it was, I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Matt Halpin. He said on a podcast, he looks at working out when he comes off tour as like, I've got to get in the gym ASAP, because like when you're on tour, everything's kind of like times 10, and when you're doing shows, you're in this position for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour every night, where your body's in this like heightened sense of adrenaline, and you're like, I'm like unstoppable, you know what I mean? But then you come away from that show and you're at home and you're just like, right, normal life, sit down, wash the curtains, do some laundry, mow the lawn, go to the shop and get groceries, all this like boring or like, normal sort of life stuff. And it's like that adrenaline just goes, and it's like that, you start processing that like post quote unquote tour blues or whatever. It's like, yeah, your mind's going to do that because it's been in this sort of like mad heightened state of like, I'm on, so, like I've got to go. So going to the gym and exercising, it's not the same, but like your body's like, oh, I've got this thing I need to do. I need to produce all this like adrenaline, I guess, to pick up these heavy weights, or to run for 40 minutes, or, that exercise that your body's doing. It kind of like sounds a bit silly, but is a bit like, oh, I'm still doing a thing,
Yeah, there's something to focus on. Like your
Yeah.
mindset has to be put onto something, because as soon as you come from playing a show or focusing on a project, recording, whatever else, your brain is so used to being focused on something that it's just like, well, what do I do now? Hence causing post-gig blues and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it absolutely makes sense that you'd have to have like some sort of goal or mentality to kind of keep that cog running as such whilst you're not on tour or whatever.
Yeah, fully, literally.
I feel like for me at the beginning of lockdown, like I did start doing a lot of exercise and started going on a lot of bike rides as I got a bike and that, and then I just started slowly like just not doing it, and then I've got into that sort of slob mentality again. And I feel like the best way forward for me would be probably getting a PT, because like I've always struggled with finding the right diet, and I've had like suggestions and stuff, and just finding the right diet and exercise plan and that sort of thing. And I think if I had that sort of instruction, I could probably push myself with it. But I think that's what I'm struggling with, because I don't exactly know what I'm doing with it. I don't know, and I don't know where to start. Then I don't know. I just kind of push it away. Probably shouldn't really.
Man, so the only thing, so I am again, like self-betterment, all this rubbish that I've been spewing on about. I watched a documentary, I think it would have been in April, about this like personal trainer who in a year, like the space of a year, so he got like super, like, I don't want to say fat, so he got like kind of overweight. So he was like this handsome, sexy, shredded, like he was basically a model, you know. And he went from like looking like, you know, a cover guy for like Men's Fitness to just sort of like a beer belly dad bod kind of guy in 6 months. And then 6 months after sort of tried to get back in shape. And like, there was just and it was about, it's on YouTube, but like you could find it. He basically, he sort of had this client or whatever. And she was like, oh, you know, like, I'll sort of do this with you. I'll try and do it, you know, with you. And she kept like falling off the wagon of it. And there was this one line that I'll never ever forget, where he said, I can't be your motivation. You have to be motivated enough to come to the gym for me to then help you. Like, I can't motivate you. I can only help you. And I was like, that's like, and in my mind, I was just like, well, yeah, that's so, and that can like be applied to anything, you know, literally in our case, like with music, it's like no one can motivate you to write a song. Only you can turn up with your guitar or your keyboard or whatever and try and write a song. But the second you're like, I think I have an idea, you know, even if you're like, I don't know if it's that good, you give it to like maybe someone else in the band and they go, this is sick. Like, this could do this could do all this other stuff. And it's like, oh, actually, yeah, like, you're right. If I hadn't have tried for that, like, even if it was 10 minutes, you know, and just like, let's just try and get something down, you know. But yeah, going back to the fitness thing, like if like, that's the one thing that I would say try and think about, is to try and have like some kind of goal. So if you like cycling, say you're like, oh, I can cycle 20 miles quite comfortably, go to a trainer or whatever and say, I want to be able to cycle, I don't even know, like, whereabouts do you live?
I live in Wigan, so
Our address.
I mean, I live right, like I live right next to where I can jump on the canal. So really, like at one time during lockdown, I biked it all the way to like Manchester and back, and that was like a full like 3 hours, 3 to 4 hour journey. And then like when I come back off that, I really did feel better for myself. But I should have done that a lot more often.
Yeah,
I've got that access there. I should really be going for it.
Yeah. Well, even then, man, like, you know, say you do this 3-hour bike ride and you're like, that was great. And then the next day, you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do another 3-hour one. Even if you go out for 20 minutes, you know, and then the next day you go out for like 30 minutes. And then the day after you go out for 10 minutes, you've gone out for an hour had you have not gone out for those 3 days at all.
True. It's getting yourself in that routine as well, I guess.
I used to do a thing of sort of tricking myself. I'd go hiking. And like the first time I did it, it'd be like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm just going to get to the top. And I think I did it in like an hour and a half. It's not that large, but all I'd ever do is like stick on headphones, listen to a podcast. Wouldn't focus on getting to the top. I'd just be listening to the podcast. And then every time I went after that, I was doing it in like 40 minutes, 30 minutes. And it was just like, the reason I went was to listen to a podcast. It wasn't, you know, to get to the top. But like what you're saying, just going out, it's so helpful. That's why I like, ever since we spoke to Junior and we spoke about Head Above the Waves with Sai.
Yeah, dude.
Seeing that stuff on like your feed, it proper like motivates me. Just get out, sick, do something positive for yourself. It's good.
Yeah,
I did not see the podcast going this way, man.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wild, isn't it? There we were. We were like, oh, come on for a chat about coffee and music. And then the next 5 minutes like that, you can do it. Do it!
This was like, we spoke to Bob Cooper. And
oh my God, I love Bob. He's a legend.
Have you seen his Audible account?
No.
Oh my God, mate. So we were talking about audiobooks and he's into like what we've just been talking about, the motivational, better yourself stuff. I've got photos of it. He sent me probably like 8 screenshots with 10 books on each.
Legend.
It's mental. But yeah, after that it was the same.
That's such a that's like such a producer thing. So like that thing with Bob where he's listened to, you know, all these audiobooks, like George Lever, for example, is like, I'll look at George and I'll be like, how, like, do you have like 30 hours in a day, whereas it only feels like I have 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just like these like producers are just like, I feel like they're strung so differently, but they're strung like so intensely, and like they're so hyper focused on stuff at like and like they know exactly what they're doing like every minute of the day. And
Yeah, they utilize every minute they can get.
yeah,
It's terrifying.
yeah, that's wild, mate. That's so sick. Though I had no idea Bob was on here though. That's sick. That's so
Yeah.
sick.
Like
Bob was episode 20, I think it was.
here we go.
somewhere
1,
in there.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Sick.
7, 8, 9,
Sick.
10, 11, 12. It's like all this white here.
Oh yeah. Oh my
It's
god.
all of Bob's audiobooks.
That's mental.
It's
Oh my
and do you know what?
God.
Like when I can't decide what to listen to, I'll just look through that screenshot and be like, right, he's finished that one. I'm gonna listen
Sick.
to it. It's so
Sick.
good.
He's even writing his Slenderman short stories as
Oh,
well.
forgot about that.
Like Bob is.
Yeah,
man.
he's into his Slenderman.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
He was a sketch, wasn't it? He was
Yeah.
wanting to do like a comedy sitcom, a Slender Man, where he has like a wife and kids, and he can just never do anything right or something like that.
Oh my god. Only Bob. Love that. Slender man, Slender boy, and Slender wife, and Slenderman.
I
think that's how he actually went.
Ready for
Pretty
it,
sure that's how it went. All right, so we might as well talk about the A and B side singles that you released recently.
Oh yeah, dude.
So you got
yeah,
Birdcage, you got Gravity, which
Mhm.
absolutely slam. They are so
mate.
good.
Thank you, mate.
So when the album in terms of recording, was that like recently, or was that way in the pipeline? It was all this big master plan of when you was going to start releasing stuff.
So it kind of the release itself played out the way we wanted it to play out, even though the entire universe didn't play out the way we'd hoped it would play out. But those two songs did come out when we kind of wanted them to come out. So it was after we had released album 1 March last year. Scott, James, and Lucas had been like doing some more like I'm not sure how like common knowledge it is, but we had written some songs for the first album with a guy called Dan Weller. And yeah, and
Young Guns,
yes, dude, yeah, and he reached out and was like, "Oh, I'd love to do some more." So, when after we had released the first record, we were like, "Let's, essentially go in as soon as we can." So we got off tour with Being as an Ocean Counterparts in April, and then I can't remember when in May, but May, that year, the guys had gone down and had presented him with a couple ideas and been like, "Oh, because Scott had only recently joined the band, really, and he had only, I guess, maybe written 2 songs for the album. So his like drive was just like way up here. So it was like he was so keen to write. And I remember getting sent the initial demo for Gravity and just thinking, oh, this is sick. Like, this is so sick. And that was, then between I think it would have been May and maybe July. We'd worked on these 2 songs, and Birdcage as well. We worked on these 2 songs. To be fair, with Birdcage, Lucas is definitely the person to talk to about this, because he had kind of like a voice memo or a demo for that song for a little while, like that I'm a sinner like hook he had for a little while. And that essentially became something while they were in the room with Dan. And the recording session sort of came about when our tour with Being as an Ocean in the US got cancelled. We'd found out that the visas like hadn't been successful, so that like day after we all met in Cardiff, and we were just a bit like kicking up, like kind of bummed, and we were like, oh, like what should we do? And I remember I think it was James had said, let's just record can we just do something? Let's just record 2 songs. Let's just record, Gravity and Birdcage maybe. And I just remember being like, yeah, let's do that. Like, that's sick. Let's definitely do that. And we could see Ryan's brain ticking, and he was just like, who could we get to record these? What about Ramesh? And we were like, yeah, whatever, let's get Ramesh to do it. And then he fired out an email and had got Nolly on board to mix it as well. So it was like,
Oh, nice.
we'd sort of got this like superstar team of, you know, Dan Weller helping us write the songs, Ramesh producing the songs, Nolly mixing the songs, and the recording.
That's a dream team. That.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but Jesus.
Yeah, literally. So that
sick.
happened. I think it was the end of September. So we were kind of hoping it would have been around about the time we were going to be in America. So we were like, it kind of gave us something to, you know, work towards. So yeah, that whole recording process was great. I think we spoke about it in the first episode of like our little band podcast.
You did. I was going to mention that because you put in the Lucas's voice memo as well.
Yeah. So, that would have been it.
That's embedded in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that on that podcast we like briefly touched on like what it was like to record with Ramesh. I don't know if you guys have ever like been to Ramesh's studio, but it's like it was so nice to be able to go to a studio and then go home like afterwards. It was the first, you know, when we had done the album, it was a bit like choppy and a bit kind of not all over the place because there was obviously like structure to it, and there was sort of like this. We did the first half, then did the second. We did it in, you know, two halves.
Yeah.
But being able to kind of do the two songs the similar way we had done Penance and Heaven Knows, but be able to go home, you know, and like have dinner at home.
Unwind, yeah.
Yeah. It was just really nice. So that process was really, really fun. And yeah, working with like Ramesh was something that we'd always kind of like hoped we would be able to do, but then in the capacity of like being able to do it with something that was like, you know, let's do singles was like perfect because it was kind of like that a million miles an hour, you know, for the time we were in there.
Yeah.
Really like trying to get things to happen while we were there. It was so good. And yeah, the videos, like we did Gravity with Zach, who is like the Don Godfather daddy of music videos in the UK. And we did Birdcage. So Birdcage got filmed like during lockdown. I think it got filmed maybe 2 or 3 days before we put it out. Basically the girl who is on the front of the I don't know where my copy of it is. I have a copy somewhere up here, but I don't know where it is. But the lady who is on the front of the Gravity side of the AA, that's Faisal's sister, Zahara. Right. And so basically they like live in the same house. So, you know, we were like, oh, we need to kind of get something for the Birdcage video done. And I think either Fez had called me or I had called Fez, and I was just like, oh, what would you recommend? Do you reckon you'd film some stuff for us with Zahara in like a day? He was like, yeah, I'll do it tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. He was like, oh, go on then. And he was like, yeah. And then later that day, the day after, had sent me this like huge drive folder with all the videos. And I was like, man, I can't believe you actually did it. Like, he smashed it. He's such a like, literally going back to what we were talking about earlier, he's such a like go-getter. Like he'll just do something, you know.
Yeah, so driven towards it.
Yeah, and it was so like, it's so class to still like have that. I don't want to say like work it, because it's not really like it's like it is like a genuine friendship with Fez, you know, because the more sort of, you know, as we kind of do our bits, like the more like just genuine like love I have for Fez, because he's so passionate about everything he does. Like when I've been with him, when he was doing some visuals for Loathe stuff, I was with him in, I think this would have been like maybe December, just after we had done like a Europe tour, and he was like, yep, stay up all night and we'll do these videos. I was like, yeah, okay, man, yep. I was like a shell of a human, but he was so like, he was so keen to just like do it all in a night. I was like, mate, you're wild, you are. Like nothing has changed from like the early days when we used to tour. He's just always been such a like a fiend for just being so creative and just so like driven, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, so those two singles are very like it was kind of like our way of being, or trying to be like not a bad, sort of this thing has happened with America. How do we sort of reclaim our time? How do we sort of reclaim like,
Yeah.
You turned it around into like a positive thing to do.
Yeah, fully. And we've always kind of been like an active band. When we first started, it was like just record songs, and then we had this crazy idea, let's do a split with Loathe, and then it was and that sort of took maybe 2 or 3 months out of like the album process for us. But whilst we were trying to not record but write for it, and so that sort of period of like pre-album stuff was always kind of like special to us, because it was such a, I don't want to say a grind because that's so cliche, but it was so like 1,000 miles an hour. It's almost like for the first time like ever in March, it was suddenly like we have nothing to do, so it was really weird. But yeah, like on the singles, I'm sure Lucas has said a couple of times in interviews and stuff, but the band will probably always do stuff in between albums as well. So with our next record, we'll probably we've been saying about trying to do a split with another band and try and explore more like alternative and electronic like music. So probably doing something with like a more rocky band or something like, don't quote me, it's not a scoop, but something in that vein where we do another split.
Yeah.
That's
cool. Just going back to, obviously you mentioned that working with like Damwell or working with like Ramesh and stuff like that. From experience from myself, do you sometimes get that feeling of like imposter syndrome of like, this should not be happening and I definitely should not be in this exact location with all these same people?
Mate, so this is so where I'm from, like the village where I live. So I live in like this rural village in a place called Northamptonshire called Wollaston. The only thing of like note, if I was like, have you heard of Wollaston? You might go, isn't that where the Doc Martens factory is? Like the only, and like, there's no real like thing of like, there's nothing really like of accolade from here. So when, we played, sort of skirting a little bit around the question, but when we played Empiricon Fest last year, and it was like we were rocking up to the Leipzig show, and it was like walking out onto like an arena stage and being like, holy shit, like how the fuck am I here? Like it's like mind-blowing. And to be like, the studio thing, when we recorded like Penance and Heaven Knows, we had gone to Carl Baum in Treehouse, which is in like Chester or Chesterfield. I think it's Chesterfield. And it was like I'd been like not had been, still am like a huge like While She Sleeps like fan. Like I love While She Sleeps. I love everything like that. I love their music. I love their like ethos and everything. I love that they're like the perfect embodiment of like we built our legacy. We didn't like like pay for someone else to do our logo and stuff. They literally like have like made everything themselves. Like I love that. I love how like organic that sort of is. So like going into the studio where like While She Sleeps had recorded was this huge like, oh bloody hell, like are you sure I'm in the right spot? Like like when you're in those like positions, you are a bit like this is mad, but then also it's like, I don't know, I've like just like tenaciously like, sick, like it's time to like prove it that like I should be here, all those like times where I was like a teenager and I was like 14 and I was like, God, watching like live Green Day DVDs and stuff and being like, they did it, man, I can do it, I can definitely do it. It's just like it's just weird. Like if I could like turn around to 14 or 13-year-old me and just like say anything, I'd always just say like, yep, just keep going, just always keep going.
Definitely. You guys had Download Festival as well this year, didn't you? Lined up.
Which say again? Sorry.
I said you guys had Download Festival as well, didn't you? Lined up.
Dude, yeah, dude. It was so that was like, because we had we were really lucky to like play it in 2017, and like that was the first time, where we had been like we were like we'd booked shows ourselves like quite a lot, and it was, I think we'd just sort of like been taken on by our like agents and stuff, and they had offered we had been offered download, and I remember being like, oh my God, like I can show my parents this and be like, look, it works. Like it worked. Something worked out really good. And it was so mad. I was so bummed though. So like that day, I remember I could only stay for the day. I could only stay for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I had work the next 2 days. So I'd been to download with some bands before in, I think 2000 and maybe 15 or 2014. So the only time I've never been as a custom. I've never been, just to go. I've always been either with a band or with like photographing. So yeah, I've always like kind of wanted to be able to just, because me and Lucas went to Reading and Leeds. I went to like the first festival I ever went to, like as a quote unquote punter. I went to Reading and Leeds with Lucas, and we went in 2017. And I just remember like this. I remember thinking like, this is sick. Like this is so good. It was like, because there was no sort of like pressure to do anything. And then, we'd seen like bands like Boston Manor and Dream State like that weekend. And I just remember thinking like, God, I'd love to play it. It'd be so like, we'd kill it. Like we'd make such a mess. Like it'd be so much fun. And like it's just the year in it. It's just the year that it was like, did you download a Reading and Leeds? And it's like, no, you can't. Nah. Try again. Try next year.
But you've spun it around and done stuff. So like the band's podcast has started. Was that because of the isolation and just catching up with one another, or was it something you were planning on doing anyway?
No, it was literally, I think, oh no, tell a lie. We had planned on doing it before, sort of lockdown time. We had, so there's I don't know if you guys know it very well, but there's a podcast called, I think it's called Song Exploder. And Lucas listens to that like quite a lot. Like I know he listens to it like the same amount that I listen to some of the podcasts I listen to. And he was like, oh, I'd love to do, one that spoke about like, the times, we recorded Permanent and Dream of Me, and the time that we did Penance and Heaven Knows, and the Like a Shadow sort of like thing. And it was like, it was that case of, well, we've got all this time now, let's just do it, let's do the podcast and let's give it like a proper go. So yeah, it was something that we'd wanted to do for a little while. But we just sort of needed that little like push, to actually do it, which unfortunately came in the size of a global.
It's a positive way of like spinning it though. I love that you've got Ryan on there. Like he really, like I don't know. I don't want to say shapes it, but like really guides.
Yeah,
what you're going to talk about and stuff. I like that. It's different.
Yeah, that was like the big thing really. So we we discussed sort of like a couple episode like formats, but then he was like didn't like, I mean, he kind of like led the way with it. He was like, right, we're gonna do the podcast, I'm gonna record this, it's sort of like the way we're doing this, where it's like a Zoom call. And he was just like, I'm gonna record it and then I'll edit it and then we'll put it out. And I was like, yeah, sick, like that's banging, that sounds great. And listening back to the first episode, I was like, oh yeah, this is really good. Like we should definitely we should just keep it up, really. Like it was one of them bits where we'd like tried it, and the first episode was a little bit ropey, so you can kind of tell the first episode isn't maybe like as good as it could have been. But then I kind of like that, because you like now, the fourth or the third and fourth episode, you can kind of hear the progression, and how
that's the fun of it, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of how better we are at it. Yeah,
I think that's the thing with just podcasts in general, because I mean, we're recalling our first few podcasts, it was just a conversation. We didn't really know what we were doing with it.
There was no sort of structure to it. Yeah.
First few we did in a car because we didn't have anywhere to record. So.
Oh mate, I love that.
Yeah, that's but sick. Fuck it, you've got to. Yeah. And like worst case scenario, we're all just like catching up and having a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Get to one listener, then great. Someone else has benefited from it, but that's my point of view on it anyway. But I love that you started your own.
Yeah, man. Well, there's a couple of bands that have done them in there. There's the guys in I think they're called Last Still. They're from like Oxford kind of way. I got the drummer is a guy called Mike. They do one essentially, and they were doing it like way before we did. And I remember being like, oh yeah, like fair play, like they're smashing it. There's obviously the like infamous like stick to your guns one, which I love. Like it's probably like one of my favorite podcasts. It's so good. I don't know what other bands do one. I think maybe I Cried Wolf do one. I'm not 100% sure.
We interviewed
yeah.
Ben from Blackstone Cherry,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say.
them guys have started doing like, well, it's not a podcast as such, is it? It's like
It is, but they just call it
in a way it
Cherry
is,
Chat.
yeah, Cherry Chat, and they're interviewing like loads of different bands, and I guess it's a good way of like keeping yourself interacted with your fans, as obviously you've not got that, you're filling in that void of obviously not touring and sort of stuff. So yeah, I think it's really cool, and like getting other bands on board, and yeah, just keeping people interested, really.
Yeah, like the collaboration is like, yeah, it's really cool. I think maybe it was Hamish on the last episode you did, like spoke about like collaboration in like rock music and stuff, and how, you know, I was like, literally like, what was it? So Tyler from Being as an Ocean, when we first toured with them in 2018, you know, we were still, you know, we'd only really written, half of the second half, so like we'd written like 3/4 of our album, so we were still a couple of songs like left, like we still due a couple songs, and I remember like talking to him, and he basically was like, like if you look at like hip hop and rap and stuff, and all that kind of like that whole like world of music, that's always been collaboration, like that's always been sort of like people dipping into projects, and you know, like so many different people being involved in a project, whereas like with rock, like I don't feel like it's the same anymore, but like a lot of the time it was sort of like, you know, like the band was like, this is our thing, this is like our little band, no one can come in like this circle really unless it's maybe a producer, you know, and then it's like sort of like the 6th or 5th member or whatever, but now it's like, you know, what was it? So like Tyler had helped us with a couple parts on like some album one stuff. The guy that was drumming for them at the time, Anthony, sort of like, you know, helped like lent us an ear for some bits as well. And like, I feel like it's kind of finally coming around to that, where it's not just like you would have a songwriter come in. It's like, because, you know, we literally can like send your friend a part and be like, what do you think? And they're like, yeah, it's good. Do you want to try this? And it's like, oh, I'll just put it in and then see and send it to the band. And then the band might be like, not that, but maybe this. And then it's like that idea might not have stemmed had you not have sent it to the other person, for them to interject and then send it to someone else. So like, again, like during this time, I've kind of like me and some friends, have started like a project that we're sort of like writing towards. We've written sort of 8 songs, but you know, I haven't really left where I'm from, but they're all based up north in like Yorkshire and Leeds and stuff, and it's like, it's mad that like we were able to write sort of, I don't know, like an EP, I don't know, a record's worth of songs, 8 songs basically from our own homes, and you know, be able to do that. It's been like just sick, like be able to kind of like broaden horizons that I wouldn't usually get to do with Hold an Absence, and sort of write parts that definitely wouldn't fit in Hold an Absence is sick. So yeah,
I'm a big fan of like rap and hip hop stuff, and that's how I discovered like half the artists I enjoy, is because I've gone, oh, that verse was amazing, who are they? Oh yeah, all the stuff is slaps, great. I'm a fan of these now. It's nice that it's slowly coming into, you know, this.
Into rock and stuff. Yeah, fully.
So let's quickly talk about, obviously, Ryan is your manager.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty sick management label. And one of them bands also on there is Sleep Token.
Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to know who it is?
No.
Yeah, he does.
Oh yeah, it bothers the shit out of me, but it's kind of, I actually enjoy that no one has a fucking clue who they are, rather than being like, Slipknot can be viewed in these certain areas.
Yeah.
You kind of guess and input that it is this certain person who's got this tortilla mask on. Whereas with these guys, no one knows. It's great. It's quite refreshing for the fact that there isn't a mass investigation going on yet. But Do you know? Or
Why are you asking that?
So we when we did the split EP like tour, Sleep Token played Manchester and London, and obviously they didn't, at the time rock up in like full costume and outfit and stuff. So, we like met the guys and it was like, oh yeah, we're like sound guys. But I am the singer. Like if you've seen the Reddit post where it's like Ash Green is the singer.
Yes.
Mate, so funny, isn't it? So funny. It's brilliant. But it isn't, I can divulge that it isn't me. It's
I
not.
hope
Okay,
someone
so
doesn't
at
listen
least
to
we've
that and
clarified.
just scoop that you've said that. In fact, I'll do it and I'll put it on the Reddit post.
Yeah. But
Next thing on Rock Sound.
But yeah, like a couple, because I can't remember who asked. It's like some people have messaged me on my Instagram and been like, man, I've got to know. I've just got to know. Is it you? And I'm like, mate, honestly, the fact you're asking me this is so creasing, and then like it just like it can't be me, mate. It literally can't be. Like it physically couldn't be, because obviously like they were in America when I think we might have been doing like a show or like a tour or whatever. And it was like, yeah, physically impossible to be me. But yeah, like they are all very sound people. and their record like is probably like one of the best records to like come out of like a band from essentially like the quote unquote underground scene in like so long. Like it's like it's mental. Oh, I wish I could give you a bit more of a scoop, but I can't. I gotta keep it zipped.
No, absolutely not. But it is. I think the first album was so good. I think around the time of you having obviously your album that came out, which absolutely slapped. Having Sleep Token's release process of like song by song by song by song, and eventually amounting to that their album. It was just such an impressive like overall time for like albums being released. It was such a good time for that.
Yeah. So there was there's a video of a fella like explaining why that sort of release pattern is so clever, and it's because if you think about it, like I think they did it maybe every 2 weeks, or they did, because it was 12 songs, but it didn't last a year, but it lasted so long that it was like they were always on on a radar, and like they would have always been getting playlisting, which like nowadays is like the equivalent of I don't even know, is like getting like radio play or whatever.
They're the gatekeepers now. Playlists.
Yeah, so like it is like it's genius. And then they released sort of merch with every song drop, which again, even if it's like a t-shirt and a hoodie, or like a t-shirt and I didn't even know what else they released so much stuff. It was like, but they had just this constant like stream of like content for the album that then obviously worked, because in 2018 they were opening for Loathe and were playing before us, and then in I think it was this year, 2020, so not even 2 years later, we're headlining like the London Assembly and like selling out shows. So it's like
insane.
It works, you know what I mean? Even though obviously like the music is like really detrimental to that anyway, but like that sort of like process of the way that you could release an album now for any like any band could do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's probably something that we will see like more of, like definitely.
Well, I think it's now knowing that the formula works. I think it would take a lot for like an unsigned band to be like, right, let's release.
Yeah.
It's such like a constant motion to it, because I think a lot of bands will have it as they will release an EP, but I think people begin to realize now that as soon as you release an EP, that's it. That's you done for 8 to 12 months, and then you've got to do it again, and then it's the same effect. I think now that people are clicking on, this is the way forward of how to release content and how to release material, that's definitely going to stick. Now you mentioned, with you obviously saying about like you met him in Manchester, obviously the news today from Manchester, did you ever play Deaf Institute?
Oh mate, so I saw this earlier. So we never played Deaf Institute, but I do know that Dream State played there, Stand Atlantic played there, and like I was like gutted that we never did play there, but we did play at the Gorilla.
Yeah.
And like, both those venues going, man, is like, especially because I think it was maybe a year ago or even a year and a half ago. What was it called? What was the one called where like you kind of had to go upstairs?
Star and Garter.
No, that's still there. It's
You're on Sound Control. That used to be there.
I think it's Sound Control. Yeah, we played there with what are they called? Not We Are the In Crowd. We Are the Ocean. We played there with We Are the Ocean, and then like a year later it was gone, and I was like, oh my god, like that was like a banging venue, So like going for again, like there's probably obviously more venues in Manchester that have gone, but off the top of my head now it's like you have Star and Garter and Rebellion, and then it's like the Ritz. Like, what's the middle venue? What's that sort of like 600 cap venue now where like a touring band of like reputable-ish size could go and play? It's like, it's sad, like it's I'll try not to go like too political and too big fat lefty, because I probably will. But it is like, there is like a lot of blame to be put on people who are in charge and waited,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, completely.
I think one to share like a personal memory from like us, like with Deaf Institute, is that we played our first ever sold out show with Dream State. Sorry, I went to a loop then. So, but yeah, that was like the first time we'd ever played a show that had actually been properly sold out was Dream State.
Yeah.
The first like show we played at Dream. I'm on a loop.
The Deaf Institute.
But yeah, at Deaf Institute was with Marmozets.
Mate,
it sucks that there's now another venue. Well, now two venues now gone. That is bringing down this list of like venues Manchester has to Ritz, Academy 3, Club Academy, and there's not much to go off now. And that can't be replaced now. I don't think if anyone comes jumping in saying, yeah, we'll help this venue now, then it's just going to be down to a slim picking, and it's going to be even more difficult going on.
It's the history of those venues as well. That's pretty upsetting, especially one like the Deaf Institute. I mean, you've seen so many bands come through that, like the 1975, and I mean, Gorilla. I watched Idols come through that, and they like blew up. Do you know what I mean? But it's one of those venues that you see a lot of bands come through as they're going through Manchester.
I need to pee. It says I need a wee. Keep talking. Keep going.
That's fine. We can fill some gaps.
Go on. Fill
some lift music.
Yes.
I'll shut that in. Don't worry. I've still got it from last time.
Brilliant.
What the fuck were we talking about?
Venues.
Yeah. Gorilla and fucking Matty said about Idols, best band in the world.
I agree.
18, sorry, and
Yeah, I'm just saying a lot of bands have come through with that, and like Idols come like that. I watched there, like it's such an intimate venue, but oh my god, that performance that Idols did there, that was one of the sweatiest gigs I've ever been to.
Wild, mate. So I didn't like really find out about Idol. I didn't know who Idols were until like 2019, like mid last year, about this time last year, to be fair. So I've only really technically been a fan for like a year, but like it's so like, I love that I found probably one of my top 5 bands, even now, like in, a year ago, like I remember like finding out who that, and like watching live videos and being like, oh fucking this is good. This is like proper good. This is like, if I wasn't in Hold an Absence, I would want to be in a band like Idols. That would be like 100%. Straight up exactly the kind of thing that I'd be doing. It's so like, because it's like, it's unapologetically like sincere and like real, and like just addresses like I don't know, just like, I want to say like humanity on like such a like a no bullshit level,
100%.
Lyrics are so in your face, and
there's no like metaphor. It's just like, it's this.
Yeah,
it says how it is.
It's so like open and honest and genuine.
Yeah.
I fucking love that band. I am in a similar boat. Like, my favorite band's Slipknot, who fucking started in the 90s. So
Yeah.
when I discovered Idols, I was like, what the fuck is this? I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you heard the new
sick, bro.
stuff?
Yeah, dude. So I think the last time I pre-ordered an album would have been it would have been the Loath. So I pre-ordered the Loath record, the new one, and then because I'm not really like a big like I don't really like buy like a lot of music as such. Like I don't really like, but it's something that like if I do like I'll buy stuff that is like kind of important to like I don't know, so I've got I'm trying to think of the best. So I've got like I bought the the Foxjaw record. I've got like the Loathe record. I got the Sleep Token record. I've got like the two Casey records. Our friends Junior, I bought their record. The Dream State record. So like in a sense that if it was me, like people that buy our record, I'm like, there's no sort of word you can give to sort of express how appreciative you are. So like in that same respect, it's like because people have bought our record, like I owe it to this like world that I'm so fortunate enough to be in to give back in a way that whatever way I can. So it's like buying records is like such a nice like memento for that. So like, but then I don't ever really buy into like big records, like I don't have a Sam Fender record. I don't have a Britney Spears record, but like Idols is probably like the biggest band that I've ordered a vinyl, like a record of, know? So man, like I'm like so like am I more stoked on that record than I am the Loathe record? Probably just because like, yeah, probably am, but both are good in their own separate worlds. One is like jam and one is like, sweet potatoes. They don't live in the same world, but they're both just as good as one another. So yeah,
it's a great analogy.
That's a rubbish analogy.
No, I'm taking it. We're having it.
Loathe is jam. Idols is sweet potatoes. There we go.
There you go.
New
Great analogy.
New merch idea.
Yeah.
I remember just falling down a rabbit hole. I annoyed Matty for months, just sending him like Idols playing Grounds live before it was released.
Yeah, you did.
Rage,
yeah,
such a rage. I love that. Yeah. But all the songs so far have been like such like great singles because it's like already I'm like I don't really know what the record would sound like.
Yeah, whereas it's hard to figure out, isn't it?
Yeah, whereas with Joy and Brutalism, it's kind of like if you released any song on that record, I would probably hazard a guess as to what it might sound like. Whereas like, Mr. Motivator has kind of like that Joy, kind of like, it's like the best, like it's almost like it could have been on Joy as an example. Whereas like Grounds is like, I remember listening to it and being like, I've only really been a fan for 12 months, so probably I don't get it, but it sounds so much like contemporary Idols to me in like a way that I've not heard them before. And then a hymn that they released like the other day, I listened to it and I was like, in my mind, I was like, if this doesn't drop, this will be like so good. This will be like incredible if it's just this really mellow bit, because like, when like their like fucking insanely legendary like Glastonbury performance now is like, when they play Idols. I'm doing what you did, Matt. I'm stuck in a loop. when they do Colossus and it's like so much like slower than it is on record. When they do that song, like that whoever is at the show will know the words and be like, as soon as the second song plays, it's going to be like, fuck, it's going to be ruckus. You know what I mean? Like it's so, it's just brilliant, mate. I think
that
like
new one took me by surprise, just how like melancholy and
like, have you heard the stuff they've done with the Streets? I know you don't like it, Matt, but I love the Streets though myself. I think
I listened to it once and it was kind of like a bit of like I was like, oh yeah, none of the song like that's got him on it. A song that I do love though, I'm gonna find it on my Spotify because it's incredible. It's by an artist called Jenny Beth. So it's like, but it's a H before the two N's, so it's like JEHNNY. Jenny Beth. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's clever. Put my phone on airplane mode and now I can't find it. Jenny. So it's an artist called Jenny Beth, and the album is called "To Love Is to Live," and the song is called "How Could You," and that's got Joe on it. But it's like that record is super Nine Inch Nails sounding. The song "We Will Sin Together" is so good. Like if there's like an album to like go away from this podcast and listen to, it's like I 100% recommend her. Like I did it didn't even get announced, but she was meant to be touring with Nine Inch Nails in America as well. Like that's how, like it's so suited to like fan. Like I remember listening to it and being like, oh, this, like I've never really listened to Nine Inch Nails, but I was like, I could see this working with like their crowd. And it was like a couple of days ago, she was like, I was meant to go on tour with Nine Inch Nails, and it was like, fucking, that's mental that like I'd never heard of this person until I'd heard that she'd done a song with Joe, and there she was in America, like due to go and like support Nine Inch Nails, which is mental.
That's insane.
Yeah, but yeah, really, really good. Such a good album. It's great. Really,
I'm so happy we got to talk about idols, I'll be honest.
Mate, me too. Same. Any chance, mate? Any chance I get, definitely. I'm just like, what? Yeah, banging.
Speaking of like, tours getting cancelled, you've luckily just announced you've rescheduled yours.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we've got like obviously it's a bit like bittersweet because it's not until February. It's essentially like a year from when it was supposed to be, I think, or maybe like 11 months or 10 months, sorry. But a little bit bittersweet. But yeah, like we're super like stoked on it. We were like added more shows than when we were first like supposed to go out in April this year.
Yeah.
I think we added like a Poland show maybe.
You
which is
upgraded
banging.
the venue as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so the Cologne show, like funnily, the Cologne show was originally in a venue called MTC, which we played with Loathe when we first went to Europe, and it was the first, that being our first Europe tour, we were a bit like, oh, no one's really going to know us. That's fine. We'll just play like we've played before, like when we first started out, and we were just like ragging and shaking everyone. And when we played Cologne, it was literally like playing like a show in Cardiff. It was like there were people like crowd surfing and people singing. And I just remember like at one point Fez turned around and I was like, what is going on, mate? This is we're in Germany. Like, this is crazy. So in that respect, we're kind of gutted that it sold so well that it's been upgraded because it was so sick. But the venue that it's now in is in a venue called Luxor, which we played with As It Is when we were like kind of opening on their last headline tour in Europe, which is like crazy that we've sort of upgraded to a venue that we were essentially opening in, even though it's 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, is great, man. Yeah, it's really cool. And I don't think we were meant to be playing a city called Wiesbaden until it got upgraded, until it some of the dates got extended. So yeah. A lot of kids have been like, oh, we're like so excited that you're coming, to Wiesbaden, because maybe it's not a place that many bands would ever really be able to go to. But I think we've done it a couple times now, and every time we've done it, it's been really cool. So yeah, excited, man. Just looking forward to going back. Just looking forward to being on tour, mate. I love it.
Yeah.
Everything about it. Yeah, I just think it's just so good. But tickets for those tours are available at holdingabsence.com.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan is very welcome for that. He'd be livid if I was like, yeah,
you've done your part.
If I didn't plug anything.
Yeah.
Did a podcast, didn't plug out.
Yeah. Hopefully some tickets get sold now. Even if it's one, I'm like that. Yep, I did it. Right, I'm off, Ryan. Bye.
While you're buying your ticket, listen to Holding Absence's podcast.
That's it, yeah.
We've done more.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we've had there's so much, like, it's such a, not a shame, because like in the next couple months, like there's a couple bits that we've kind of got in like reschedules and stuff, like for example Australia, which we're kind of like hoping to reschedule for next year, but like as it stands, like a lot of the stuff that was meant to happen this year is happening next year, and that does include stuff that we didn't get to announce for this year. So there is like like cool stuff happening next year just a shame it can't happen this year, you know. But it is what it is.
At least you're looking at it in a positive way and being like, you know, most of it's still going ahead just eventually.
Yeah. Well, this is so. I get like, oh man, I feel like I'm just tangenting. I'm so sorry.
Mate, that's the fun of it.
I was
podcast.
Yeah, I was. So I was chatting to my friend Kev Miller, and who's the drummer for Chapter and Verse. He was like, man, I've just had this thing where I've not really, you know, I've been like, do I just stop? Do I just stop being in a band? Like, you know, there's no shows happening, and it's like, will the band make it out of this? And you know, I remember saying to him, I was like, man, like at the end of the day, this now is like the perfect opportunity for everyone to just be so, not like Strickerton on stuff, but you know, like you could literally come out of this lockdown 10 times the musician that you were before you went into it, even though, you know, there's none of that. Again, it's that thing of like, kind of like the fallacy of like, when you do a show, it's like you get that instant gratification of people being like, oh, this was great, like this was really good. Even if it's one person being like, this show was really good, that's still like such a good feeling to you as a musician. But like now it's kind of like all those years where it was like you weren't in a band and you just had to come home from school, practice your instrument, and just do that for like, you know, I remember doing that for like 8 years or something. You know, I did that for like 8 years before I was ever in a band, and it was like, it's just like that again. And it's just sort of that mindset of being like, even though you know what it's like to go and play a show, now it's just sort of like, okay, there aren't going to be shows, but you know, there will be. It's just like, I feel like it's just hard, you know, it is hard to sort of keep yourself on that bit to be like, I've got to practice. And, you know, even then, even a bad practice, you know, me and another friend, we're always like, a bad practice is still a practice. Like a bad show is still a show. You know what I mean? So like, even though you could have a day where you're like, I'm going to play for 10, you know, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to practice for 2 hours, and you play for 10 minutes and you're like, I suck today. And it's like, good. Like you sucked today. You could be amazing tomorrow, you know, but you wouldn't have known you were going to suck today unless you sat down and did that 10 minutes. Like it's better to do 10 bad minutes than no minutes at all, you know? So it's that.
That's a good attitude to have.
Yeah.
And plus, like, everyone's been given the gift of time at the minute. Everything's on pause.
Fully, man.
Like, this is the perfect time to practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, like I've been putting out like stuff on my own Instagram that I never would have dreamed of putting out. Like this year was, was never ever going to put out like drum content as such. Like it was usually ever just going to be band stuff, and it's like, you know, I've got like 3 covers now that I'm sat on, and I've put out 3 covers, and it's like,
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, like I've never would have dreamed that I could ever be able to do like stuff like that, or like, again, it was that thing of like just pushing myself to be like time, you know, like you can edit videos, you can record yourself with your phone, like you don't have to have the best, like the mic I use for this podcast is the mic I use to record my drum stuff, you know, and it's like nice. all you need is like, you don't even need money, you know. The first couple bits I just did using a phone, like I just used my phone to record, and that was it. Like that audio was just straight out of the phone, you know. So it was just like about pushing myself to be like, it doesn't matter, just do it, and then it will get better, you know. So yes, you know, one of those, like the gift of time is like at this point is like, so yeah, it's just like I've welcomed it with open arms, you know.
Me and Lun were watching you cover the other day. And
thanks, mate.
No, we were saying like, it's so nice to watch you play drums because you can tell you love doing it. And by the way, my favorite bit.
There he is.
Fucking sick.
Guest appearance from the cowbell himself.
There it is.
Brilliant, mate. Yeah. Good. Good.
Love that.
Ah, man. Thanks, mate. Thank you. Bit of production value as well, I suppose. Like, yeah. Thanks, man. That's
comedy
that's
and
really
a drum cover.
a very loose bit of comedy, but I'll take it. I'll take that.
Made me laugh, man. So it's good enough.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, bud. Yeah. I got I was saying to my friend Toby, I've been learning a song that's like probably the heaviest song I'll like cover, and mate, it's so good. Like I don't want to say what it is because like maybe it'll be out by the time this goes out, don't know, but like the song itself is so ripping. Like when it comes out, like it's just like I wish I could have done it sooner, but like I didn't really find out about, because the song's been out a little while, but like it's kind of like, you know, a newish song, whatever. But yeah, it shreds, and I can't. I'm like stoked to put it out.
Is it Grounds?
Oh, it's not. No, it's like heavy. Like, yeah.
Have you do you watch drum covers, or do you avoid that to not fall in the black hole of, like, I watch loads of Alex Rudinger, and I'm like, he's so fucking good.
So good,
behind
right?
the kit.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, I know why I gave up playing drums now.
Oh man, it's like, oh, I hate that. Oh, hate to hear that, man. Like, you should.
I don't really, like, I got a fucking practice pad at the side of me and shit, but
and you've got your cowbell. So.
Yeah, and a cowbell. But you know, I avoid doing a band.
Oh man, like, so the I think Eddie Thrower like talks about this quite a lot. He talks about it like so much on his socials and in podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, he vlogs as well, doesn't he? So like, he
yeah,
does a lot of in-depth stuff on there.
Mm-hmm. And I know that he like there's a lot of like I totally get what you mean about, like, you know, I could probably go on my phone now and in about 2 minutes find like 3 drummers who are fucking so much better than me, and that's just because they've probably practiced more, they've probably got better gear than me, that's a given, probably have been in more bands than I have, and have probably like done way more recording sessions than I've done, but like I'm not the this is the thing, so I'm not the best drummer. Like, I know I'm not the best, but it's like I use that like, oh, they're so good, I want to be good, you know, I want to be good enough.
Like, you use it as motivation for yourself to like, yeah, definitely. So I definitely see it as like a like a motive kind of, I don't know, like maybe I'm a bit weird, like I don't really see it as like competition. Like, I see other people who are good and I'm like, I get so jazzed, I'm like, mate, you're so good, like this is incredible, like I just want to like hype people when I see them like pushing stuff out. So like, yeah, like obviously drummers like Arik Impromptu, for example, can do a backflip over a drum kit. I'm never going to do that, but like I'm just like, bro is so sick. Like, yeah, so like there's a mental video of him like playing on one drum kit, standing on the stool and back flipping over onto another drum kit. Mate, it's wild. He's so good. He's like, he's a monster. And I'm never going to be able to do that. But it's like, that's fine. I'll just do what I'll like he like, nah, you can probably hit drums quite hard, but like, I'm going to sit in like my pocket and I'm going to be like the rocking, like hardest hitting, like big drum, big cymbal, loud guy. And like, that's just going to be my thing. So I'm going to make sure that like, I've got the biggest drums and the biggest cymbals and the loudest stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's, and I'm like fine with that. Like, I'm not too fussed on being the ghost notey 7/9 drummer that like is like chopsy, you know, like I'm probably never really gonna be that good. As much as I could want to do it, I, you know, could put aside 6 hours a day to practice that, but like that's never the way I've like played drums. So it would be weird for me to do that. So like, you know, when I'm doing covers and stuff, I'm just like, there's almost like an element of my mind goes into like, you're playing a show, kind of like, I just have that thing where I sit behind a kit and I'm like, do something cool and like is a bit, you know, is a bit weird and kind of like do something that I would do. And yeah, so it's weird. I have this like, there's this thing with drums where it's like, I know that there is a way to do it, but I've always had, even when I was in school. So the one thing I always got told by my music teachers was like to play quietly, because that's like, you will be more successful like if you can practice quietly. Yeah. And I was just like, nah, fuck that. Like, and then that was it. Like, I never, after like my GCSEs, I never studied music at school because I was like, I don't really want to be told how to be a musician when like it's expressive. You know, I understand that there's like, there is a sort of like objectivity to playing drums, but like subjectively, like I believe like if you want to be a musician, like it comes like, it's not like there isn't a book that everyone can just read and be like, yep, this works now. You know, it is like, again, this is like so like, could be so like, what's the word, like wanky, and be like art is
for what the painter makes it, you know. But like at the end of the day, like it kind of is, where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, if like you've got a riff and it's like 1/4/14 and it's like, yeah, that sounds sick to me. Like someone will be like, that doesn't, you know, some jazz guy or some like bluesy guys will be like, that doesn't work. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously you're going to think it doesn't work, but like it could be the next biggest riff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like songs like Smells Like Teen Spirit that are like 3 guys and it's still the loudest grunge stuff ever.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
people were always, you know, there were probably people at the time that were like, this fucking sucks, but it's like they're like the biggest grunge band ever, you know. So there is like that element of subjectivity to it, where again, man, like it is there are rules, I guess, but at the end of the day, like it's your job, I get, or not your job, but like your duty as the musician that you want to be to take those rules and try and like pull them apart as much as you can without completely destroying them, I suppose.
But it's like music is like very subjective, and it's like trying to tell an artist how to paint and what to paint. It's like you can't do that. Like each person's got their own individual sort of spin on things.
Now,
I mean, go on, Mark.
I was going to say, like, now when I watch drum covers and I've, you know, listened to some of Bob's books and I'm like, no, it's fine, I can do this. It's more style than like, this is right, they're better. It's just like, that's his style.
Exactly. And there's never too much practice you can put into things. And I know we said this before. It's like, even like artists that are massive. So like, from example for me with being a bassist, like Nicky Six, like he's constantly posting things about him, like still learning, having lessons and stuff. You know what I mean? He's in like one of the biggest rock bands, like Motley Crue, but he's still practicing. And it's like, there's never, you can never be too good at it. Do you know what I mean? There's always room for progression. And there's a lot of drummers as well. I mean, like if you look at RJ Hale from Hailstorm as well, he's got his own style, man, and he looks like he's like loving it every night he's playing. And I guess like people feed off that as well. If you look like you're like into it yourself and you're enjoying it, the people love it.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, fully.
Was
it's like
Oh, go on.
No, go on. You're right.
No, I was going off subject, if I'm honest. So
I was gonna say Bugger. What was I gonna say? Oh no. Oh, something about like wanting to be like Nicky Six having lessons, right? I remember the Billy Joel from Green Day said this mad thing where he was like people always say, oh, practice makes perfect, but then a lot of people also say that no one is perfect, so why practice? And it's just like, yeah. Like, you know, like never going to be perfect. Like you're only going to be as good as you can be. So it's like, I remember just listening to that and being like, yeah, banging. I'll never be perfect. That's fine. That's all right. I'll just be as good as I can. Like,
I was just going to ask, was there a particular drummer or a band that you watch where you're like, yeah, that's what I want to do?
I guess, I don't know, man. Like there's always been, it's kind of just been like an evolution really, with drummers. Like the first time I ever listened to music and was like, I want to play, actually, you know, that's like a bit of a not entirely true. So the first time I heard drums, I was like walking around my village and someone in our village was like playing drums. And I just remember saying to my mum, I was like, that's so cool. I'd want to do that. So like started playing the drums at school, like after school. And then that Christmas, my parents bought me a drum kit. And that must have been like maybe 2004 or 2003. And then in the same year that American Idiot came out, I bought that record. And I was just like, this is amazing. Like started wearing black shirts with red ties. And like, I was like, anything Green Day did, mate, I was like, they're gods. Like they're my gods. Like they were like untouchable in my eyes.
Everyone went through that phase.
So like seeing, yeah, mate, it was like, I don't know. It was like, I don't know. It was like I'd just been awoken by like rock music. It was like that thing where I was like, yeah, this is it. Like, and used to spend like weekends like playing along to the album, you know, and I bought the Slipknot live CD, the 9.0 live CD, you know, that. And I remember listening to that and being like, like, how is this music possible? Like, you know what I mean? And being the impressionable kid that I was, it like that just led down to like every like crazy like kind of route of music. So it was like I'd probably put it down to like, yeah, I really liked Green Day and Slipknot as like a teenager, but then the second I like found out that music like Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium existed, I was like, I want to be in a band like this, you know. For years that was like the thing, you know. And then from that it was like met other musicians who liked, you know, other music that I liked. So then, you know, it's mad that Ben from Blackstone Cherry was on here, because like Blackstone Cherry that was like, I remember seeing the video for Blind Man and being like, that's how I want my drum kit to look. Like I want my drum kit to look like that, and I want it to sound like that. And yeah, oh man, it's so I don't even know if I can find the messages, but in 2014, when Blackstone Cherry like they did like a live DVD from Birmingham or something when they released Magic Mountain. I was in uni, and a production company that I knew of were like filming that production. So they were, and I'd got tickets to that Birmingham show, and they put out like an ad, I think maybe on Facebook or something. And I was like, they were like, oh, we need a production runner for like a thing in Birmingham. I was like, oh, I could do that, and then I could go to the show, and then like, you know, two birds, one stone. I could get a bit of work for my like, you know, my CV or whatever. And it literally turned out that it was that show. So I was like, this is mad. So like, you know, afterwards I was like, I said to the guy that was directing it, I was like, man, can I be like, well, naughty, like I love this band, can I like meet the band and just be like, oh, all right? And you know, went like backstage after and like chatted to John, and I was like, he was like the soundest guy like ever. I was like this like kind of weird like teenage kid or like in my, I don't know, I was in my 20s, so fucking, I was probably like 20, 21 or whatever. And I was like, oh, all right, man, like, love your band. Always wanted to be in a band, and you make me want to be a drummer. So cheers. And then like a couple years, I think it might have been like last year or something, I messaged him on Instagram, and I was like, man, I don't know if you actually remember, but like, you know, I met you at that show, and I was like, oh, I love your band. Always wanted to be in a band. And then a couple months ago, played in an arena. And he was like, dude, that's fucking so sick. And now it's like,
love that.
You know, it's like not, I don't know, yeah, friends. No, we're mates. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's wild. Man. Like, it's such a like that. They're the imposter syndrome moments where it's like, you know, I like fully at a point in my life idolized the way that John Fred Young would play the drums. And like, if you kind of watch him play and then you watch me at a show, it's kind of like, oh, you know, you kind of see that kind of like mad crazy drummer vibe or whatever. And then it's like, you know, a couple of years later, it's like, yeah, I get to chat to, you know, essentially some of the most influential drummers that I've ever listened to in my life. And yeah, it's mad, mate. Even talking about it now, I'm like, oh God, like, what? Awesome. This is mad. Yeah, it's wild, mate. But yeah, what was the question again?
I forgot myself as well.
Just like, what drummer made you want to?
Yeah, that was
play drums. Yeah. That's what it was.
If there's like a top 5 drummer, like if I had to name a top 5 drummer, like right now, then it would be definitely Trey Cool, because he's sick. I would probably say John Beavis from Idols, because he's sick.
Yeah. He's another one, like his own style, and he owns it. Yeah, it's so fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very literally cool. like plays for the song, but also like is like everything he does is like, oh yeah, this is this song, you know, like love that. The guy from Sepultura, Eloy, is like machine. I will like he's one of those drummers where I'll watch him and I'll be like, why do I bother? You know, one of them where it's like no one is ever going to hit as hard as that guy. Who else do I like? Love. Oh, like Sean from Loathe is like always makes me think, like if there's a box, like he makes me want to get the box, throw it out the window, and not even think about buying another box. You know what I mean? Like just always being outside the box with like playing. I think he's like undisputably like probably one of the best drummers in the UK. I don't know who else is really good. Fucking Connor Dennis, obviously. From Beartooth. Yeah, definitely, mate. They're like probably like if I could have like a little dinner party or like some brunch with
Come
5
dine
other
with
drummers.
me with the 5
Mate,
drummers.
Oh, I'd love that. Imagine that. Imagine fucking Eloy and John Beavis. That'd be wild. Oh my god, what a round table that'd be. Yeah,
I kind of want that to happen
Yeah.
though.
I
yeah,
want
that'd be
to
great.
come
wouldn't
down with me setting.
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Beavis slagging off the food.
Oh man, no, I bet he's well nice. I bet they're all proper like
Oh,
nice, polite
100%.
boys. Yeah, must be.
I just wish she slagged off the food.
Yeah.
I met Adam before the gorilla gig, the Idols gorilla gig, and he was like he's like a friendly giant.
Dev.
Yeah, it's so cool. Big ginger beard.
Yeah, legend, mate. Legend.
Yeah,
They're all proper nice. I love I don't know what's the guitarist's name? The Irish guy that just wears his pants all the time.
He's got the crazy
Is
facial
Mark in
hair.
it? Mark, is it Mark Bowen?
Yeah, Bowen.
is,
That's
yeah,
it.
Bowen.
Mate. Mate, if I could dress like, I'd probably never going to happen in Holding Absence. Let's be fair. But if I could adorn anyone else's stage style, it would be that.
Yeah. I love how he's just like stuck with it to the point where it's like normal now. Like at first you kind of like, why is he playing in his underwear? But now you watch it and you're like, that's kind of cool actually. Yeah, like, I dig that. Like,
my favorite bit is like in all the live bits, it's like, oh, just so everyone does remember, he's a dentist. Like that's like my favorite thing ever. I love that. I'm always like, oh, where is it? Where's the dentist comment? Like
that's like a thing with some bands as well. It's like it's crazy what they do outside being in a band as well. I mean, like Adam from the 1975, he was like something like with science, like space science or something like that. It's crazy. Like he's like really intelligent, but crazy, isn't it?
making ends meet, right?
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah. The I think it's Alid from Dream State as well. So he has like some like crazy like he's like, I think it's like his position is either really high up or he works for like a really reputable company. And like I remember like when I found out, I was like, that's wild. Like that, because he like proper like rates his job. And funnily enough as well, so a guy called Garrett, who is like the drummer for Being as an Ocean, when we did the tour in April, it was like, because he, you know, they're from America, and I think he either lives in LA or he lives on that, you know, like that east coast or whatever. He like works for he works in like HR, so like he would play the show and then like straight away afterwards he'd like pack his drums away so fast, like the fastest I've ever seen a guy pack away drums, and then like within like 10 minutes he'd be on his laptop and on a call being like, yeah man, I think the projected figures and the numbers for next month's tour could fit on there. And I was like, hey, that's mad. Like, and he'd do that for like a couple hours like after the show, and it was like that's like what he had to do in order to be able to like, you know, essentially go and tour in America and stuff. But his job were like just so cool. Like they were just so cool with it. They were just like, yeah, just do whatever, man. Like, but yeah, that like that balance of it is like is really like when you can, as like a music, you know, I don't know if any of you guys are like employed like or you know before this like had like quote unquote regular jobs, but like it was it's always like a hard balance. I always like, I'm like kind of an advocate for just like I got every job that I could have. Like I think when I joined the band in the first like 2 years, I probably had like 12 or 15 jobs. Like I worked like in so many different places. It was unreal because it was like, you know, I'd start a job and it would be like, oh, by the way, like I've got like this time off that I need, and you know that for the first part they're sort of like, oh yeah, that's fine. And then once all that time goes, and then like, oh, by the way, I've got like more time off that I need for these, you know, like 2 weeks here or a week there or you know 3 weeks here, and then it becomes like, oh, this is going to be like regular, and then but then it's like, you know, in the stuff that I was doing like hospitality, so like coffee and restaurants and stuff, it wasn't really like that sustainable. So it was like I'd fucking like went through work. It was like so hard. So yeah, I obviously like this year made the decision to go freelance and like drive bands and stuff, and fucking what a tremendous mistake that was.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I've got no work now.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, I got like nothing. It's the
I
work.
thought you were about to tell us like some horror stories of driving bands around, and then I realised like how shit the world is at the minute.
Oh no, man, nah. Like this is so good. Like I'll probably it's one of them bits, man. Like, well, I'll probably do this until I like don't have limbs or something. Like I'll do this for as long as I can do it. You know, like I love touring. I love traveling. So like being able to do it with so many different, friends and stuff from all different parts of the country and go to, a lot of places in the UK that I, as a band, like my band doesn't get to do anymore, but like go to those venues and be like, fuck, I love stuff like this. I love that like like grassroots venues are literally like the fucking best thing in the world because it's like just full of people that want to be at shows, like I love that. I think it's just sick. So like, yeah. And I guess there's no better feeling than working for yourself when you can work for yourself. Just a bit of a grind, isn't it? It's a bit of a slog, but yeah. It's been, like we said earlier though, like granted the gift of time, so just using that now to be good, So yeah.
Should we go on to one of our segments?
Yeah, go on.
While we can.
Oh,
So,
before we do,
yeah.
can I do another wee?
Go for it. Go for it.
It's the cowbell. The cowbell has about 1.5 liters in it. And I've drunk so much today. I'll be super quick.
Mate,
I promise.
it's a good thing. Don't worry.
A bit of lo-fi lift music.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Very good. That. Go on.
Right, yeah. So we usually have a recurring segment on the podcast, and we ask you, what is your favorite scary movie?
Ooh, my favorite scare. Is this like a movie that scares me, or is this like a scary movie that I enjoy?
So any horror movie that you love, or even that scares you.
I'd say
scares
both.
you, then
You
it's
can-
good. Yeah,
You can throw up 2 if you want.
Yeah.
I think the last time I watched a scary movie that scared me was it wasn't really like the movie's not very scary. So like The Conjuring 2, right, isn't very scary. Probably not that scary, but like on a level, I'm in a level with all 3 of you right now. The Nun in The Conjuring 2 is the goddamn most scariest shit I've ever seen in my life. I fucking hate it.
It's when you see us stood in that corner.
Yeah,
in it, mate.
That.
Fucking, I hate it, mate.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I have like nightmares about like the fucking shadow, like walking across the room and then grabbing the painting, mate. I have nightmares about waking up and that thing just being stood in my room, mate. I like, for the life of me, gives me like the willies. Like, just that alone, mate.
Is The Conjuring 2 the one where it's about the Enfield haunting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the number 2?
Yeah,
I think it is.
The one in England.
Yeah. Because there's
yeah.
a scene on that as well where it's like facing the window outside and the nun stood in the corner of the room. But like, that's the thing, because like she's not such a big part of that film because they're focusing on something else. It's just really unexpected to see like the nun stood in the corner. That's what's fucking freaky about it, because she just appears out of nowhere. And then they released the Nun film, and that was just disappointing, man.
Fucking so that was the thing, because I was like, oh, you know what? I'll do it. I'll be a brave boy, and I'll go and watch the Nun in the cinema. And like, fuck, it just wasn't as scary. I think it's because though, it's like because you expect it. It's a bit like it's going to be there, so it's like you're just kind of prepared for it to just touch. But like, yeah, mate, in The Conjuring 2, like the hallway bit where it's like where the daughter's stood there and the mum comes in and she's like, who's that? And she's just stood there, and it's just like,
yeah.
You're just like, oh, boys, like, can we skip this bit? Horrible, mate. Yeah. So that was like the last thing that scared. I think the thing before that was, is it Sinister? The thing with like the weird
that was
thing.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that
With
looks
the
like
tapes.
Yeah, that looks like Mick Thompson or whatever. And then he's got the photo.
Actually does.
He's got the photo and he's like that, and he's looking at the photo and then puts it down, and then it's just fucking stood there like in his garden. Yeah, mate, fucking solid. That I remember seeing that in the cinema as well, and like I went to like a fucking stupid like 11 p.m. showing or whatever, and had to walk home because like all the buses had stopped. And I just remember the whole walk back being like. Like the whole time. It was horrible. But yeah, those 2 films are like the scariest. My favorite like scary film though is it's actually a bit lame, but probably I want to say The Cabin in the Woods, because like it was kind of like such an expectation subversion.
Yeah.
You know, I expected it to be like kind of a typical like college-y horror slasher film.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, I just remember being like, oh, fair. This is just like the Hunger Games, but horror.
Yeah,
Their
I've got a
last
love
guest
for
said that
that
as
film.
well. Our last guest mentioned that as well, yeah.
Oh, what Hamish did.
Hamish,
Yeah,
yeah. Cabin in the Woods, yeah.
Yeah, it's banging, mate. It's proper good. I can't really think of it. Oh, actually, no, I remember. Matt, you said about this horror segment, and I was like, I was bit of a weird flex. I was thinking about it in the shower, and basically, one of my friends, Ryan, he does like a oh, what's it called? Wow, what's it called? He does an Instagram and he like reviews like horror films, and he's done like horror film bingo or whatever. So like he I'll try and find the flipping picture, but he basically did like, oh yeah, oh thank God for that, it's literally there. So it was like he's watched like all of these films and he's like reviewed all of them.
That's cool.
Like,
I like
and
that.
there's like tons there. So it's like Us, The Fly, Psycho. So it's like and The Purge, The Craft, some in The Crypt or something, The Fog, 13 Ghosts, The Last House on the Left. Like the classic like films.
Yeah.
That are like, you know, really good horror films. And he basically like reviews them all, and I think he's tried to do like 1 or 2 a week. I can't remember what the is. It's so frustrating. I'm so sorry. But if Ryan is listening to this at this point, I did try, man. I really did try. But that being said, there was a film I remember seeing on the list that was probably like the first time I'd seen a horror film and was like, this is sick, was The Strangers.
Oh, I love that film.
Like, that was like brilliant. Oh, and I don't know if Cloverfield counts, but they're like 2 of my all-time, like, I remember when they came out and watching them and being like, this is sick. Like horror, like maybe Cloverfield is more like monster-y film, but
it's like found footage as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I think, Strangers is probably up there for me because it's kind of like a bit psychological and
it's more the realism of it as well. Like that could actually happen.
Yeah,
and it has happened.
Yeah,
as well.
it did, didn't
it?
It's based on a true story.
Yeah, and the bit with what's that like? Because it doesn't like end in like it's not like typical like first, second, third, fourth act where like by the fourth act everything's fine because the murderer is gone. It's like the 2 spoiler if anyone hasn't seen it, the 2 fucking main characters die, you know what I mean? So it's like it's proper like again like that expectation subversion thing where it's like it's like I think that's what I enjoyed about it. Like it wasn't a typical like horror film where it's like everything at the end is like, oh, everything's fine. It was like, oh, fucking bleak. You know?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Strangers 2, the second one?
Oh, fucking yeah! What a waste of time.
Did you not like it?
What?
I really enjoyed that.
I didn't like it, mate. Good. I really didn't like it.
How come?
I think it was like maybe it's just my age, mate. Maybe it's like me being an old man, but like I remember how good the first one was. Yeah. And then with the second one, it was kind of like, maybe it was because like I didn't really sort of know what to expect at the time when I was watching it because it was so long ago. But you know, when I watched the second one, I was like, oh, he's going to be on the roof. Oh, that person's going to die. And it played out the way I thought it was going to happen, you know? Yeah. So it was kind of a little bit like, not disappointing, but I guess there was only sort of one way it could really go.
Whereas at least the first one had that surprise of this isn't a traditional structure for a film.
Yeah. And like, I can't really name you an iconic shot from the second one, but in the first one, when Liv Tyler is stood in the kitchen and then Matey Boy in the mask just comes out of the shadow and it's like,
man. Yeah.
Like so like different people notice it at different times. And I remember being in the cinema watching it and someone going, oh God. And I remember like, I was like, oh, I took your time. Like we've been here for like 5 minutes. So yeah, like, maybe it's not like it's not sort of as memorable as I remember really. I was
saying like the second one's like I think we mentioned this before as well again, but the second one's more based on the actual what the film's based on, so the Keddy Cabin murders.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So
I think that's probably why we have a love for it.
Yeah, the story for it is like about like it's a bit of a family. I think there was like 5 family members or something like that. They was all tied up and killed within this cabin. The murderer was never found.
Fucked up bit is the daughter of the family went staying at a friend's that night.
Yeah.
Came back the next day to see a family dead all over the
in this room.
cabin.
That's wild.
It's
Oh my
brutal.
god.
And they never found the murderers either. It's crazy.
That's
Crazy
mad.
stuff.
That scary. Oh, on that kind of stuff though, have any of you ever seen the Roswell tapes?
Oh, why does this ring a bell?
I have watched quite a lot of like alien stuff as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's almost like found footage, but it's kind of like it's sort of like literally like a handheld like camera from like the 90s or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just about this family that like aliens like land in their like on or like close to their property or whatever, and they just like get abducted. But it's kind of like because it's filmed like from a camera. I think it's probably like reconstructed from like an original like story or whatever, but like it's just really well done. Like it's just really good. It's like tense, like for a lot of the second and third part of the film is really it's really good. I remember that being like something I watched when I was probably like 15 and being like, oh my god, aliens are gonna kill us all.
Is that the one where they're like having like Thanksgiving?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Ah, man, yeah, I watched that. I used to be on Sky that, and I could never find it for ages.
Yeah, man. Yeah, fully. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Really good though. Really good. Everyone, the other two of you.
I will add this to my list.
Yeah, very good, mate. It's very good.
Was it called like from what I remember? It was like the McPherson tape or something.
Yes. Fucking, yeah, it was. That's it.
Mate, I never knew anyone else had ever watched that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Someone else has seen that.
So good. Just like there's a bit where the like, cause the daughter or whatever, the little girl in it is like fucking can like talk to him or whatever, and is like, oh right, alien boys, like it's like mates with them or whatever. But it's like, it's mad, but it's really really good, really good.
It's so low budget, but it's so good, and it like
it works like
yeah,
very good.
Didn't to get flashbacks from when we had our conversation with James from Death Havana when we started talking about aliens and shit.
Oh, that got deep. That got deep, man. We was talking about ghosts and all sorts. We might as well ask you that. Have you ever seen a ghost, or do you believe in ghosts?
Don't know.
No.
I don't know. I don't think. I don't know. I'm a bit like not too spiritual in the sense that I don't think that like you can, as a like, I think it's just everything is a bit too sciencey in the body. Like, there's a bit like.
Yeah,
bleak, but when you die it's like the shutting down of a body. Like there's nothing really spiritual in your body. So you know, the like the soul or whatever, or your spirit is just cognitive in the brain. It's not like this ectomorphic like humanoid thing, you know. But aliens on the other hand, like, how is it possible that we are the only thing ever in the universe? Impossible. There's definitely something somewhere.
I find it crazy when people say, no, I don't believe.
Yeah,
that's the outrageous one.
Yeah. Aliens can't exist. It's like, well, fucking... Oh, when...
We exist.
Yeah, innit? Like, we're aliens to some other planet. They're like... But, what was it? I think it was like... not Area 51. The Pentagon or something. Literally released unidentified flying object.
Yeah,
like,
the footage from the fighter pilots.
Yeah, and it's like that's just not the most talked about thing this year.
Yeah.
But it's like it happened.
How fucked up is our year?
Yeah,
that's not the most talked about thing.
Slips.
Aliens are just like that, boys.
We had our time.
Yeah. we literally tried, and we were just like, nah, fuck it. Like,
I think it's because it's become such a like. I watched another documentary on this. I think it was called Zeitgeist or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And mate, that this documentary will blow your mind. It's all like conspiracy theories and all sorts, but it'll blow your mind. And they go on about aliens in there, and it's the fact that like they've blown aliens so out of proportion now to the point where people see it as like a form of entertainment, and you don't look at it like maybe this could be real. And apparently, like this goes deep. Like this is a big conspiracy.
I remember you telling me this.
It's the fact that the government have done this to ensure that when people do mention stuff about aliens, you don't think of it as being real. You look at it, and you think there's no fucking way that can be real.
Yeah.
You look at it, it's like, yeah, man, it's a hoax. Whereas like people when they started off with aliens, like with like the Roswell crash and all that, like that was a big deal to them back then. Like seeing something like that. I mean, you've got Tom DeLonge now who was like sailing the ship for aliens. can, yeah.
Flying the flag. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, equality for aliens, justice for the Asians. Right. That's creasing. Yeah, man. Well, yeah, just that thing in there. I just don't think it's like, I physically don't think it's possible for an entire universe that we don't know anything about to not have more life in it, when there's life on our planet that we don't even know about in oceans and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
There's like stuff that we don't even know here, let alone when people can be like, oh, there's no such thing. When it's like, oh, there are fish that you literally don't know about, Sharon. So what do you want about? You know? Yeah.
Right. This brings us to our second regular feature in our podcast. So this is pet peeves. So basically the rule is that you pick a pet peeve that really pisses you off. We discuss it and we go from there.
Just really what gripes you about anything.
What grinds your gears?
I don't know, man. I don't really know. It's nothing really.
You're too nice of a person to get annoyed at people. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No, there are like things I can think of, but it's like, I don't know. Like, there's definitely a broader, more overarching like thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess like,
If you can't make a good coffee.
Oh no, that's not down to, that's not a pet peeve. That's like, just I got friends that can't make good coffee, but I'm still like, yeah, nice one, boys, nice one, so, probably like, when I say like bad manners, like in a like there are like a couple different like examples. Like, if you're in when there are people, like if you're eating food or whatever, or like you're in a service stop, or you're in like a McDonald's or whatever, and like you've got your food, you finish your food, and then people that leave their stuff on the table, I fucking hate.
Yes, mate.
Yes.
Like, people that are like, but it's their job. But it's like, oh, fucking yeah, and so you can't be a nice person, can you? You can't be like, oh, you know what? I'll just put this in the bin that's over there on my way out. Or like, what's another one? Like, please and thank you. I just don't know. If like, but now I feel like I'm probably the worst for it. Like, if I'm ordering something, I'm like, hi man, can I please get a, I'll please have a, can I please get a, yeah, cheers, thanks man, yeah, good job, thanks very much, cheers, thank you. And I'm like that, like, that's just the way I'm wired. So like, if I hear someone like be like, oh, can I have a Coke? I'll like look at them and I'll just be like, please. You know what I mean? Like, so like, that's not really a pet peeve. That's just something where I'm just
no,
like,
I think that is definitely a pet peeve. I used to work at Starbucks at a service station for about a year on nights.
Respect the hustle, mate. I used to work at Starbucks, so recognize.
Oh, nice. And like, it was my job of nights to like, you know, count waste, serve the odd like lorry driver. There was a KFC right next to us, so I would like sweep and mop the whole seating area, put the like chairs up and everything.
Nice boy.
And just as I get in, there's always someone like bang on 10 o'clock at KFC, orders the biggest meal you can think of, and then just shit everywhere.
Hate that.
Like chicken bones all over the floor. Oh, mate.
You're not in too much. People aren't. You're never in too much. Like, if you're in too much of a rush to not pack to throw your stuff away, don't fucking stop in the first place.
It's literally on your way out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, if you're like, oh, I don't have time, I'm in a rush. Well, it's like, well, fucking don't stop and have food then. If you're in a rush, just carry on. Just don't drive into the service station. Just keep going. Or, what's the other one? What's another? Oh, I'm trying to... Mate, I've got it now. I'm on a mad one.
Here we go.
Like, when, actually, no, oh, come on, what are they? What's that stuff that fucking pisses me off? Stuff that pisses me off. Oh, like hospitality again. Worked in hospitality loads. Like this. Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, big one end for you, boss. Like, I can't stand that. Like, again, that's like a manners thing, though, isn't it? Like, no, there's never something in my mind where I would go, you know what, that person who's working right now they need that. They don't. No one needs that. Like, not an animal, not a dog. Actually, no, I can't say that because animals are just as equal as people. So can't say that because animals are the boys. You know, like fucking. But like that's what I mean. Like I wouldn't do that to a dog.
No.
You know what I mean? So fucking don't do it to another person. Like, you know, stuff like that, mate. Stuff like that, or like again, like negligence to the world around you as well. Like that's not really a pet peeve. That's just something where I'm like, I don't believe in like, we are literally living in an age of information. When someone's like, oh, but I don't get it. It's like, well, fucking read something then.
Yeah,
Spend
it's
5 minutes to
ignorance.
read something. Like, again, like Fez was like, we were chatting and he was like, when people are like, ignorance is bliss. No, it's not. Ignorance is ignorant. Like bliss is being like, oh, I understand this and I understand this. So I, you know, literally sort of picking something and like sticking at like kind of like having a belief. You know what I mean? Being ignorant to belief is like, yeah, that's kind of like a pet peeve where I'm like, come on, like you like just spend 5 minutes reading something, or an hour if you've got an hour, you know. Yeah,
I think on the terms of that, it's like at the moment, especially in these times with COVID, like I've seen a lot of things where it's come out now that we're having to wear face masks in the next week. So if we're going out shopping or like going on public transport and stuff, and I've seen a lot of comments of people going like, why should we have to do this? Like, why are they making us to do this? It's like, mate, you've got one job, right? Just respect the people around you that want, you know what I mean? That want you to have your face covered, and just put a fucking face mask on. That's all you need to do. Like, they're not asking you to fucking carry the world on your shoulders. You're literally putting a face mask on to protect you and the others around you, to respect other people, and they're making it a big deal.
It's not like the PSA is like this big long list, and they're like, right, so you only wear a face mask. So go out with all your bits hanging out, right? Just a face mask. It's not like that. It's just like, just put one extra thing on your body, like just, and that's it, and it's done.
And it doesn't stop anything, does it? It's not restrictive. It's not.
It's a bit of cloth.
Exactly.
Have you seen the
bit of cloth?
Have you seen the meme of in 2001, Kane entered the Hell in the Cell for 11 minutes and 21 seconds? If he can wear a mask, so can you.
Yeah, mate. The best one is that the OG was that Slipknot one where people were like, if Slipknot can play in latex masks for 2 hours, you can go to Lidl and wear a mask for 30 minutes.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Like, think about the early Slipknot mask of Jim Roots was a latex gimp mask where sweat would fill up like to here in his mask, so he'd be playing in his own sweat. And it's like, you can do that. I'm sure we can manage a cloth.
Yeah, innit, mate? Like, yeah, wild. Because I've got like a full, like, mine goes like round my like bit, because I've got like a fucking really long shaped face. So like with the hooky ones, I like snapped one. So I was like, I'll just get like a thing I can like do up all the way around. And like, it's relatively uncomfortable, but I'm still like, fucking doesn't matter. I'd rather be uncomfortable for 30 minutes than like give someone this disease and you know the thing that happens when some people get it, you know. So like, yeah, it's that thing.
It's not hard at all. Some people are just fucking too fussy.
Pet peeve, mate. That's a pet peeve.
Yeah, big time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Rona special.
Yeah. When we came into this, I was like, right, try not to speak about it. And in the first 5 minutes, I'm just like this. COVID's terrible.
Mate, I've been doing the same thing. I got sick of like asking people, what are you up to? Get shit. And then I've been listening to Craig Reynolds' Downbeat, and he's talking about the same things, like, this is why I'm not doing it. I was like, he's fucking right. It's boring. I had a podcast yesterday, and like the guy we were doing it with, he was just like, yeah, Corona, like every other minute. Like, fuck me.
Just find something new now, innit?
Let's
talk about something new.
It's like checking the news every day. It's just gonna get you down.
Just stop doing it.
Yeah.
It's just mind numbing. Be like, oh, it's not gone away yet. Oh, no fucking shit.
So speaking of manners, should we let you get food by now? Or
I mean, I'm good, mate. I'm gonna have some food I'm gonna have some food whenever this is done. But like, I'm good, man.
But I suppose my question should be: is there anything else you want to go over? Because I feel like we're on our way to wrapping this up. Is what I should say.
This is nearly it, mate. Man, this has been great.
This has been a long podcast.
It's been very good. I'm so sorry that this is a long one.
That's a good thing. I like
it.
It's been lovely to chat. If I'm gonna do like my really nice PSA now, where I offer up my time to anyone at any time, any place, about anything, that if anyone wants to chat, and this includes you three as well, if you guys want to chat about anything at any time, you can always message me on Instagram or wherever the fuck, because I'm like, I feel like I've always got this ball of like positivity and productivity, and I'm always like willing to like chat to people and chat through stuff, like whether it's music or like stuff we were talking about at the very start, like fitness and stuff and motivation and like productivity and coffee, like whatever if anyone ever wants to chat, like people can always message me. And again, like I want to be that, like I want to, like, I don't know, just that thing about being like as good for everyone as everyone is to, you and literally me, like I'm really fortunate to be in a position where I can connect with so many people and do this podcast. So, I literally owe all of my like time to people that are kind enough to give me their time. So yeah, if there is ever anything anyone wants to talk about ever, people can always message me. Even 5 years from now, like always message me, and I'll always try and keep a big empty inbox. So
Yeah, man, that's
always,
cool.
mate.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you don't get that from most people,
No.
like in bands. So the fact that it's that approachable is really nice.
Yeah, always, mate. Always. I look
I'm
forward
gonna
to
make
chatting.
you regret it.
Mate, impossible. Fucking impossible. That's impossible. I promise. Like, people will regret messaging me because I'll be like, oh, I'll message him at like 2 a.m. All right, I'm up. I'm wide awake. I have coffee. You want to chat? You want to chat about your life? You want to chat about going to the gym? You want to chat about being fit? You want to chat about food? Like, yeah, I'm just always on, mate. I'm always on. Like right now, I'm like, yeah, this is it, right? So we've started the podcast, right? What's the next 2 hours about then? Like, I'm just always on, mate. I'm always on, like, go. Like after this, I'll probably have some food and then do some bits. Like I'll probably be on emails again for like 2 more hours or something, or like be chatting to people, on my phone or whatever. Cause like, yeah, I'm just fucking, I'm a psychopath. Like I'm a fucking psychopath. So, but again, I'm going to say it for, I don't know, the second, third or millionth time. Like I'm so thankful you guys wanted to have a chat. And we didn't address this in the start, but we were supposed to do this on Tuesday, and I flipped it, fucked it, I wrecked it for everyone. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like I need to go on record and tell you how sorry I am. I was basically helping a friend like with like a van build that they're like living in. So, and I like just lost track of time.
Is that like completely converting it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so like they're
mate.
living in it. It's
dream.
so sick.
That's
it's
sick.
so sick.
That's awesome.
But that's what I was doing. But again, like I'm so sorry that I like
Don't worry about it, mate.
Don't worry
It's
about
messed
it.
up.
No problem, no, mate. You're here now, so
Yeah, and worst case scenario, we got to chat to one another. It's not exactly
Yeah.
the end of the world. So
yeah.
there we are.
yeah.
A good thing did come of it. But
Y-
again,
well,
just
you know.
I'm sorry. I'm a bit shit. So I'm sorry.
No, thank you for taking the time to come and chat to us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
always,
you.
man.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Thank you,
man.
man.
Thank you, fellas.
And,
Thank you.
We're gonna just drag you back at some point. So yeah.
Do
thanks.
please do.
Yeah,
Um,
or a future show, whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah.
can actually meet up.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
man.
hopefully we can catch you at one of your shows once you're back on the
Yeah,
road
for
as
sure.
well. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. That'd be sick.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
good.
thanks for coming on. Stay
Thanks for
on.
that, man.
We'll wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll do a
start
fake
for minute.
goodbye. But before we
Cool.
do, shouldn't we do the traditional? You've rescheduled your Europe tour. So you
Oh,
can go
yeah.
get tickets and
Yeah,
show
sure.
us to the Holding
Everything.
Absence podcast.
Banger. Absolutely, mate. We can do that. So I'm trying to wait.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get the. Oh, there they are. There they are. Come on, boys. Yes. So, holding absence. Yeah, we have a tour, we have some announced dates in February, March next year. In Europe from February the shit. Wait, I've shagged it, boys. I've absolutely shagged it. There we are. Yeah. So. So we have some dates next year in 2021 from February 18th to March 3rd in Europe, playing in Belgium, France, Germany, Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, the Netherlands, or Holland. I'm not sure which one of the two to say, but one of those two. And then we're playing at Full Force Festival in June, as well as supporting our really good friends in Creeper with Wargasm and Static Dress in the UK. In March as well. You can get tickets at holdenabsence.com, where you can also buy merch if you're in Europe. We have an Empiricon store. If you're in the US, we have a Sharp Tones store, and we have our own UK store as well. Anything that we ever do is always on our website, which is holdinabsence.com. Thanks again to the boys, to all the Matts for having me again on their podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure, an absolute treat.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you
coming on.
Right, we'll do the
Agree,
fake
everyone.
goodbye now. Cheers, buddy.
Bye. So that was episode 36 of An Earful Podcast with Ashley Green from Holding Absence.
If you didn't already know from that podcast, Holding Absence are on tour next year. Make sure to go and get your tickets. You can get that at www.holdingabsence.com.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, we have 35 others, not including bonus content. If you actually like the sound of our voices, you know, justify
I'm not
my
gonna lie,
well-being.
I hate hearing my own voice back me. So
Yeah,
like, when
same.
I listen to the podcast back, I'm like, oh.
I'll be honest, I don't even do it.
I'm the only psychopath who does that.
Yeah, that's why my editing's so shit. I don't like listening to it. You'll notice on podcasts without me, the editing is banging because I'm not in it. However, shit, drop the drumstick. Deal with it. We're keeping this in. But if you didn't know about social media, we have it. So follow us on there. That'd be nice. Bump my endorphins, make me feel good about myself. And subscribe. If you like our ugly mugs, it's on YouTube. You get to stare at it for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. For context, we've been chatting for 3 hours.
Crazy.
That's how dedicated we are. And you can't even like or follow us. And guess how much sharing costs? Absolutely nothing. So why wouldn't you do it? Because I'm too lazy and I don't really like you. But, give me something to work with.
We should have done that because
Great.
we're all in different squares. We should have done that as if I was looking at you.
Yeah. Highland.
Where are you based on
Wait,
this?
oh, I was
We're
facing
all
the wrong
different
way.
squares. That's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry, guys.
that worked. Fucking share it. Enjoy.